Hey there, quick question. What does this card look like to you? Alright, time's up. Would you believe me if I said that this card is in fact supposed to be a trebuchet? Hello and welcome, my name is Ryuna. As you might notice, I am a VTuber, and also I really like board games and card games. The card that I just showed you is obviously clearly generated with a large language model, or as most people know nowadays, AI. Today I wanted to take a look at the increasing amount of AI usage in this hobby that I am a big fan of, and I would like to just ask a singular question: why? But anyway, I am an avid fan of board games, and I always look for new, interesting, and exciting games that I'm 100 points ahead of everyone, and I'm about to lap the person in last place who is playing the game for the first time, by the way. I'm just teaching them, but I'm just styling on them because I can. Why? To assert my dominance, of course, and to demonstrate that I, in fact, have more disposable time and that I'm willing to spend it on plastic and cardboard. Well, in all seriousness, I do try to keep a lookout for new games, just like someone who might keep a lookout for new indie games on places like Kickstarter. The main way that I get my fix, however, is to look at websites like GameFound, which, if you don't know, GameFound is a platform quite similar to Kickstarter, pretty much entirely similar, but it's more aimed at board games, card games, tabletop games, and the like. And it's one website that I frequent to look out for new projects. And while there are many interesting games coming out constantly, that I would love to play, I have noticed an increasing amount of projects that include, well, just AI generated everything in their final product. I wanted to take a look at how widespread all of this is. So in the last month or so, I've kept my eye on GameFound, and I've managed to find a few interesting projects, so to say. But yeah, let's take a look at them, see which ones got recently funded or are up and coming, and let's see why people would ever want to actually buy any of these games. Starting off with our first candidate on the list, Byzantion, the Justinian Era. This is one of the first games that really caught my attention. It's called Byzantion, the Justinian Era, which is interesting. Byzantion is not a term you hear often when people are referring to the Byzantine Empire, but yeah, long story short, I'm also a bit of a history nerd, so that is also the reason why this game kind of caught my attention. It's supposedly set in the reign of Justinian I. Those of you not in the know, this is a pretty famous Eastern Roman Empire emperor, or like basically who almost managed to reunite the old territories of the Roman Empire after the fall of the Western Roman Empire. Anyway, you play as 4 players who are demoi. Apparently this is an ancient Greek term for an administrator of a particular suburb in a polis. You know, you're one of Justinian's henchmen in this game, pretty much. Now, the project has managed to raise over $300,000 in total funds, which is not an insubstantial amount of money, with over 2,000 backers. So people are seeing something in this game that that unironically I don't. The reason that I bring these numbers up. Essentially, the game is not very cheap. The all-in version for the game comes in at about 140 doubloons or euros. And for this price, you get the main game, a neoprene mat, miniatures for units and buildings, sleeves for the cards, as well as a history book and a 5e compatible D&D adventure featuring you playing as Belisarius. I would be surprised if the Chronicles of the Purple, this history book, is anything more than AI art with like Wikipedia summaries of like the various players which were active during Justinian the First's reign, like in his court. But you know, it's I would be very interested to see what they produce for this reward, because this is kind of unlike normally. This kind of thing would be like a lore blurb in the manual or in the rule book of the game itself, but apparently this is like a $10 add-on for your game. Interesting. And then of course there is the interesting decision to make a literal D&D campaign module where you play apparently as agents of the Eastern Roman Empire working for Belisarius. What is this? As the description notes, in this bold reimagining of historical events, you'll navigate the intrigue of the imperial court, rally reinforcements alongside the determined Antonina. Yes, I am pronouncing that correct. As she fights to save her husband and take part in the legendary siege of Rome and experience fierce battles drawn straight from the chronicles of the Byzantine Empire. Oh my god, this all of this kind of like reads like it's AI generated. This module will include new rules for an exciting siege, new stat blocks, and special rules for playing in a more historically accurate setting. This is something that really caught my eye, because imagine, right? Imagine you ever having the urge to roleplay as a party of adventurers helping Belisarius in the siege of Rome in 537 AD. Well, if that sounds like your jam, now here's your chance. Now that I think about it, like actually like a group of adventurers, including like elves, dwarves, maybe even a tiefling, if you really want to scare those Christians. All of those characters being kind of like reverse isekai'd into ancient times. That sounds like an actually fun homebrew campaign. No clue why you would need a book like this to help you with that. Like maybe if your DM is not very imaginative, and yeah, I don't know how you would work around the standard D&D mechanics and items and magic as well. Like, are you just not allowed to cast spells? Is half of the class roster now like kind of completely useless? But yeah, I would love to get my hands on a copy of that and see what kind of madness they've managed to concoct, or like what kind of story and mechanics they've managed to come up with. That said, though, like in my opinion, this is pretty much an overproduced board game with a lot of components it doesn't really need, like all covered with beautiful, stunning AI art with a style that looks like someone turned up the light of the sun and the bloom to like over 9,000. I mean, come on, are you going to tell me that this looks like actual clothing? What is happening to his clothes? His jewelry, his face. What's wrong with your face? Another interesting point is that some point during the end of 2025, a bunch of comments point this out. Apparently the project owners made a statement that they were looking into making cardboard components for the players instead of actually just, having nothing, but apparently they settled instead of doing that, they settled on making a big neoprene mat, which, as the user Bronx points out, would have to be stored outside the box and be constantly hauled around. Now, Bronx seems to be really, really invested in the game having cardboard mats, with multiple comments reiterating towards the creators that he really, really wants to have that cardboard. But the creators keep repeatedly telling him that they went with a neoprene mat for a more premium feel for the game, with other users pointing out that a neoprene mat would last not as long as cardboard components. I'm not sure about that, but it's interesting to see someone being this invested into having cardboard. It also seems that from all of this, I can gather that there's more of an emphasis on making a game that is essentially just having a whole bunch of superfluous components simply for the sake of it feeling premium. It is a card-based game, from what I can mostly tell, which is also an interesting thing since in one of the comments, the creator of the campaign literally admits that the neoprene mat that they went with is not even really needed to play the game. While other users also point out that the miniatures that you put on cards and on the mat aren't really necessary, apparently. It's an interesting situation. I actually have heard from people in the industry that it's cheaper to produce plastic minis than to actually make high quality cardboard components. So maybe that factored into their decision and that's also perhaps why a lot of these games tend to go for seas and seas of like plastic miniatures, mainly probably to draw in people who are easily impressed by that sort of thing. But yeah, this is an interesting project. I personally would never back it. In case you haven't noticed, I am not really covering these games in a super positive light, but the amazing art speaks volumes. I honestly would never get this game for myself. I really do get a sort of, how to put it, I almost get kind of like overwhelmed by the amount of detail that the AI tries to cram into all of these quote-unquote drawings. It's very visually cluttered, and basically not get a headache from it and then decide like, oh yes, this is a beautiful game, I want to back this. But anyway, we have more games to talk about. Another game, the next game on my list, which is Capitals of Tactoria, which is quite similar to another game that I have to talk about later in the video. It is a card battler where you play cards to generate resources to play more cards, but essentially it's also very similar to Byzantium that we just talked about. It's a lot of card games that get like a thing where, because these games are card based, that it's easier for them to just like use ARR, put it on the cards, and then be done with it, instead of, just actually having to design more interesting components. But yeah, basically, the art style features the same overlighted light sources as before. Bloom turned up to over 9,000. And yeah, I do think that this is a hallmark of what I think to be Adobe Firefly. I'm not sure if the previous game used that as well, but think that a lot of companies, for some reason, think that whatever Adobe Firefly is pumping out is amazing, and that it is something that they would want to use in the final product of like what they're making. The game does not outright state that they're using AI tools, although there's some acknowledgement, and especially in the comments as well, like At least they managed to disclose the usage. The game managed to raise over $50,000 from 500 backers. Damn, maybe I should just make a card game, slap some AI art on it, make like a fantasy card battle or something, call it Battles of Dragonia or something, and then make a good amount of money. But yeah, the base copy again isn't really cheap, $55, and some of the amazing backer rewards include you joining the council. The council, which I think is just a fancy term for either like a members-only platform or even worse, like a private Discord that you get to join. Reminds me of like YouTubers that would have like reward tiers for like being in their community, and one of them is literally just like, ah yes, you can join my Discord. Amazing. That's what I pay money for. Let's go. But anyway, another interesting thing about this project is a pledge that no one seems to have taken. I don't know. I don't wonder why. I have no idea why no one would take this pledge. For a measly 1,500 euros, you can either name a card or work with the team to make a character for their upcoming expansion. Well, if this isn't money well spent, I don't know what is. Amazing. Personally, though, I think involving like somebody who would pay that amount of money to make alterations to your game would usually either lead to like some sort of Mary Sue or something of that sort. Like kind of gives me flashbacks to like the Pathfinder games where they did crowdfunding at one point, and one of the rewards is that you would get to design a quest, and somebody took that reward and literally like it's the most self-insert Mary Sue that you have to help during that quest. And I just personally think that having tiers like these is not a good idea, and the fact that as a team that you're offering this, that it says something about you willing to compromise the quality of your product for essentially money. But yeah, this is yet another game that I would not recommend you back unless you really enjoy again the really oversaturated art style, and you enjoy any of this, essentially. But yeah, moving on to yet another weird case on our list. This one's a bit of a very unique case. They Own the Night. The gameplay description is kind of vague, but it seems to be an RPG-like hex crawler. A hex crawler being a type of game where you move around a map, usually like completing quests, moving your character around. If you ever played something like Hero Quest, which is a dungeon crawler, or Gloomhaven, which again is also a dungeon crawler. Imagine something like that, but on like a world map. In this case, though, the creator seems to have told the AI model to make the most generic, oversaturated heavy metal art style possible. Bro looked at a heavy metal album cover and went like, ah yes, I want that. The most interesting thing is that before the project has even launched, the creator seems to have received a lot of pushback to the point where they literally they are going to cancel the project, with a lot of comments, of course, pointing out the gratuitous use of AI for literally everything. Even concept art, which is supposedly actually made by the creator, even though it's clearly AI generated. This guy just goes on a complete sort of like meltdown of like, oh yes, all of this is just a work in progress. Oh, look at this concept art. And it's literally just more AI generated stuff. Like, imagine not even coming up with your own game and literally just generating it Why? What? Why? That's a big question that I've yet been unable to figure out. Why would you do any of this? I'm not even sure that this is ever going to come out, bro. Like, he's literally telling that he's going to cancel the game before the campaign is even launched. But yeah, it's interesting to see what some people will throw onto this website. But yeah, he seems to have really gotten a lot of pushback for this. And it's interesting because some of the previous games, like, the AI usage is almost as egregious, but I guess in those cases, they've managed to actually produce a game with it, and they've had like a clear idea of a game that they were going to produce. And this guy clearly doesn't seem to have any of that going on. But yeah, all of this is AI generated. His description is AI generated. Like part of this description also reads, "This isn't a bright, heroic romp. It's a cinematic, moody, and choice-driven." This is just straight off the chat GPT presses. Like, what was bro thinking? Generating his, like AI generating his description, AI generating his art, AI generating, like, this guy would AI generate his entire board game, his entire rule book. But yeah, let's take a look at the amazing AI art trailer thing that this guy made for his game. Oh, let's go. Oh, hey, it's Frodo.
The legends were true. The time has come.
He's holding the book backwards, but what is he doing? Damn, that whole family is exploding in some sort of magic explosion. What the hell? Well, if that didn't convince you that this game is going to be a smash hit, then I don't know what will. Before we get to the game that really pissed me off and that actually kind of ticked me off and that I have a copy of IRL, let me talk about another weird project that I found on this website. And that is Footballek. This is a football table, a table football game without any bars, with handles that you normally spin past the ball with. This is a game where players take turns pinching or launching the ball with pieces that they, like, press down on the board. It seems to be a fairly simple game, one that looks like to be pretty popular with children, or like would be very popular with children, and from the looks of some of the marketing material that he's put up, he apparently has managed to recruit a bunch of children to play his game. The owner already seems to be building and selling the game on his own website, even though all of the materials in this campaign and on his website as well are just AI generated, including this banger of a video. Just to have a listen to this, holy crap.
In the heart of the game, we rise with Footballek. We light the skies. Every move, every play, we bring the thrill to life each day. Footballek, feel the roar. Unite. rising to the fame. Football, feel the roar. United as we score in the spirit of the game. We are rising to the fame. With each goal, dreams ignite. On this field, we unite. Tactics sharp, skill so bright. We shine together in the night. Football, feel the roar. United as we score in the spirit of the game. We are rising to the fame.
As a commenter put it, I don't know whether I should cry or laugh about this. Oh, well, I am laughing. I mean, why would you prompt an AI to write lyrics like this? Football, the spirit of the game. I am having such of a hard time telling which part of this game is AI generated or not. Like, is some of this like footage that he's showing of him, like, of the game being played actually AI? Like these close up, like dramatic shots that he's taking that are in slow motion. Is this AI generated? I don't know. Is the part at the end where he shows off the game AI generated? Yes, it is. Like, holy crap, that is AI generated up the wazoo. But yeah, just the project description itself also raises more questions than it answers, with a gameplay demo being shown with the same AI song. It's interesting. The game also seems to be clearly 3D printed, and it comes in pieces with borders and like football player pieces and a tube. And with all of that, you have to pay a whopping $70 for the launch edition. For some reason, the editions all come with like multiple teams of pieces, even though you only have like one board to play on. You also get a felt board with this, by the way. Well, maybe you can switch out one team for the other if you want to, but I don't know. I don't see why you would have a collection, an entire collection of them. What's the point of that? The game also comes with 2 whistles, so you can blast each other's eardrums out when you can call like a foul on the other player if they like tip over your player pieces or something. Each tier seems to also add like 10 euros for like an additional set of like player pieces, which is pretty wild for like 3D printed parts. I can tell you 3D printed parts don't cost that amount of money. But yeah, you're paying a lot of money for what is essentially a bunch of 3D printed parts and a small felt mat in a tube. I also think the creator seems to use gamefound mostly as a way to advertise his game rather than to fund its creation. And I also think it's no coincidence that the launch of this campaign coincides with the start of the current World Cup that is going on, with a special edition that you can get if you're a big fan of football. I mean, soccer? Hold on a second. Wait, he's from Europe, right? But he's calling it football? Wait, isn't football like American football and soccer like actually what we're playing here? I'm confused. But yeah, but now that we have a bunch of projects that I found out of the way, it's time to talk about the one, the only Kingdom Legacy Feudal Kingdom, the card game. This is it. This is the game that wanted me to make this video in the first place. Man, even the title of this game sounds like it was generated. This game is art so atrocious that I could sometimes not make out what was being portrayed on the cards without reading the text on them. This is a deck building game made by the same people who also made Terraforming Mars, which makes all of this even more like strange to me. Like, you, Infrax Games, you probably do have an actual artist that you could put on this. You have used artists in the past before. Why are you suddenly now just like AI generating all of this? But anyway, this is a whole another topic in of itself. Like, this publisher, they're really going on an AI tour with their latest gamefound project for Terraforming Mars, the Legacy Edition, also including like AI art. And yeah, frankly, I don't understand why they're doing it. It's literally like a big box that you're producing and you're putting AI art on the cover. What are you doing? But anyway, back to this game. The goal of this card game right here is to essentially play cards, collect resources from them, and then use those resources to pick one of the cards that you played and upgrade them into better cards. You reveal cards from your quote-unquote kingdom, which is just essentially your deck, and you take turns by upgrading your cards. That ends your turn once you've gone through your entire deck and it's empty and you have to reveal new cards. Then, or like once your deck is empty, you have to reveal 2 new cards from a separate deck, which you're exploring, and you add them to your current kingdom, which is your own deck. And this cycle kind of repeats until you kind of run out of cards in the box. And yes, there is already about like half a dozen expansions for this game, for like Desert Kingdoms, Northern Kingdoms, pirate adventures, just adventures in general. It's crazy. I wonder how they're able to produce all of these expansions so fast. That really makes you think, doesn't it? But yeah, I actually own this game and I've played an entire game up until the end myself, since I bought the game from a local game store. When I first saw this game in the store, I was intrigued. I enjoy solo board games, in case you didn't know, and I'm always looking for interesting solo games to pick up. And the store owner was like, "Oh, you gotta, this is the new thing for like solo board gamers. You gotta give this a try." And so I just bought it without looking very like hard at the box. Yeah, that was my downfall. So I purchased this copy. I must admit this was indeed kind of just an impulse buy, and I was kind of like trusting the store owner. And I think that this is also the case for a lot of people. Like, it's a pretty cheap game as well, so I was like, let me just give this a try. And that turned out to be a bit of a mistake, as right after I bought it, I then looked on the back of the box, and then I saw that the artist being credited for the game was Adobe Firefly, which is Adobe's premier AI model. Anyway, I do have a sneaking suspicion that Jonathan here does not have anything or like anyone else working on this game when it comes to art. The game also does not come with any like rule book or booklet or anything. When you open the box, it's essentially just the cards, or like the cards kind of function as sort of like the rules. Like it has like instructions on what to do, and after like the first 10 cards, it tells you like, hey, you're now entering the legacy part of this game, which I'm also going to touch on later. The legacy in Kingdom's Legacy, or in what's the title of this game again? Kingdom Legacy Feudal Kingdom. But yeah, there's it kind of like gives you some instructions and then also refers you to a website for the game. You go to that website, you are greeted by a video that kind of instructs you how to play the game, which goes something like this.
Welcome to Kingdom Legacy. Let me teach you how to play. This tutorial uses examples and graphics from Feudal Kingdom, but the rules apply to Northern Kingdom and Desert Kingdom as well. Your deck contains 140 cards. Each card has a serial number in the top of the card. There are several different kingdoms and expansions to play, each with its own icon associated with a serial number. All cards in the same box share the same icon. Now, take cards 1 to 10 out of the box. These cards are your kingdom cards, and together they form your kingdom. You will notice that most cards are split in half, with one half upside down. Most cards also have reverse sides, which are also split in half, giving each card up to 4 stages of development. All cards start the game with their serial number face up and at the top of the card. Over the course of the game, the cards will be upgraded, rotating them to more powerful stages. Since the orientation of the cards determine their progress and development, never rotate or flip cards unless using a rule to do so. Now let's take some time to inspect your 10 kingdom cards. You may look at the front and the back of all cards you own, but you may not inspect the cards in the box. They are undiscovered and are not part of your kingdom yet. However, you will discover most of them over the course of the game. To understand what you're seeing, let's go through an example card and explain its parts. This is the first card in the Feudal Kingdom deck, Wild Grass. It has a name, a keyword, production, and an upgrade option. The banner color behind the name reflects the keyword, with lands being bright green and buildings being gray. Keywords have no meaning on their own, but many effects will single out cards with specific keywords. The production shows what resources you can gain if you produce with this card. Resources are needed to pay for upgrades. As you can see here, by the end of the game, you want as much fame as possible to compare your success to other kingdoms. Now let's start playing. Shuffle your 10 cards, making sure to not rotate them or turn them upside down in the process. Then place them face up as your draw deck. That's it! You're ready to begin your first round of play.
Now, so you have this person basically slowly explaining to you how to play the game. Personally, I find this a bit irritating. I'm more of a reading the rulebook kind of person instead of just watching a video and then having someone slowly go through all the motions and of the game. I tend to like seek out the information that I want, and I can usually just, in my opinion, do it more quickly in a rule book. But I suppose it's not all that common, since I've seen multiple groups who play at my local game store. They always tend to pull up YouTube videos of people explaining the game if they're playing the game for the first time. And I do understand that nowadays, like, a lot of companies advertise like, oh, you don't want to read? Don't worry, we got you. Look at this video instead. And it's like, yeah, thank you. I do prefer to read, however. Give me that rule book. Give me it right now. The rule book as well is like a thing where many board games also kind of like drop the ball with. A lot of rule books kind of like suffering from bad layouts or like not covering edge cases that come up during gameplay, and I'm just sitting there being like, what is the official ruling on this? That's something that I occasionally run into. Basically, the prime mechanic, or like the primary mechanic of this game, is actually decently fun, I would say. It is a bit too much reliant on RNG for my liking, and I'm more of a fan of games that are a bit more deterministic and at the very least provide you more tools to negate any sort of bad RNG coming your way. Essentially in this game, if your deck gets shuffled, there's cards that you would want to get after other cards, but it's like there's no real way outside of a few cards for like influencing any of this. And yeah, I don't really vibe with it. So yeah, if your deck gets shuffled and the cards you want to get her out of order, well, you have very little recourse, except like using the advanced mechanic, which essentially is just you playing 2 more cards from the top of your deck. However, since your deck size also affects how fast or like how many rounds you have in, or like how many turns you have in a round, essentially you kind of like playing more cards in one turn gives you less turns overall. So this shortens the amount of turns that you can use to upgrade cards, which it's something of sort of like a negative spiral that I don't really enjoy with this game as well. So I might be a bit biased, but I mean, come on, look at the amazing art for this game. Speaking of the art, the game includes many cards with characters that look like extremely generic or just downright uncanny. Let's go over a few, shall we? Like, first of all, the first enemy that you encounter is the Humble Bandit. He has a very pointy hat and is standing in the most unconvincing rainstorm ever. How beautiful. Or how about the entrepreneur with his radiant smile and endless supply of lamps in the background for some reason? Like, what's up with that background? Or the scientist who is pouring liquid, completely missing his bottle that he's supposed to be pouring into, while his eyes are kind of closed. I don't know, man. I definitely trust this. I trust this man to do science for me. And then we get into my all-time favorite, the card that I showed you in the beginning, the engineer, who has built the most unidentifiable contraption known to man, the trebuchet. What a card. Amazing. And then we have other cards like the Inspired Inventor with like a sort of headband or hair tie. Who knows what this is? Which is so large, it covers her entire like head. I don't know, man. This is looking very uncanny. Or what about the rough-looking mercenary that transforms into the most handsome male fashion model knight? Damn. But yeah, bro just literally becomes another person. Yeah, you might have also noticed, like, on a bunch of these cards, features like a red, like, torn card symbol, and that is where the legacy aspect that I alluded to earlier comes in. For those unaware, a legacy board game is a type of board game where the game gets irreversibly modified when you play it. Most common examples would include you placing stickers on a board or on cards. In this case, however, instead of just only placing stickers on the cards, if you see this symbol, you're actually supposed to destroy the card if you use this effect. The game even tells you at the end to take a picture. The game even tells you to destroy the game in the most creative fashion that you can and then post a picture of it on social media. Personally, I'm not a big fan of these types of games since I believe that no game truly requires a legacy system in order to be fun. And I like my board games, which take up a lot of space, to be replayable, in fact. And the simple fact that you're modifying components means that you can play the game again in its original state. So again, imagine buying like a video game and then the game disc just destroys itself after you've beaten the final boss. This is essentially kind of what happens. Essentially just leaving you with a useless copy that you can't ever use again, really. This is essentially what this game is trying to do, in my opinion. And it's no surprise to see people in the comments on Board Game Geek actually resorting to using clear sleeves to put stickers on so that they can easily peel them off again and to basically mark off cards instead of like destroying them. Wow, it's almost as if people don't want to destroy a game that they paid a good amount of money for. Wow, who would have thought? But yeah, so much for sustainability as well. Anyways, after defeating a bunch of like enemy cards, you will at one point eventually encounter a card named the Dark Knight. who, if you defeat, turns into an impressed boy. And yeah, all I can say is, like, congratulations, this card now generates military power. You now have conscripted child soldiers for the military might of your kingdom. And the same thing goes for when you defeat the menacing Dark Prince, which kind of looks suspiciously similar to his henchman, the Dark Knight. And basically, you keep going until the exploration deck is empty, and afterwards you count all of your glory, and then apparently you destroy your game, bringing you an end to the adventures of John Kingdom, the builder of singular non-replayable kingdom. Oh man, for real though, like, the box also features a portion on the side where you can note down how many like scores you have had. Like it's interesting. The side of the box features an area where you can note down your score, and it has multiple spaces. Do I have to buy the game again in order to play it? But yeah, this is an amazing game. I would not recommend you buy it if you see it on the shelves in your local board game store. And if you've watched this far, I would like to thank you for watching. All of this has been kind of a big rabbit hole for me, and there are many games that I wanted to cover that I did not get to in this video. If you want me to cover a game that you found interesting, and that isn't AI generated, let me know as well in the comments. And yeah, I do recommend you play some actually good board games instead of the games that I just talked about. Some amazing ones that I really like currently are Imperium, Dune Imperium Uprising, Scythe, Voidfall, which is my all-time favorite. If you like crunchy board games, this one's for you. Yeah, I'll be catching you guys in another video, hopefully. And I would like to thank you all for watching, and I'll be seeing you later. Ryuna out.